Two of the greatest fighters, not just in our era, but two of the greatest fighters of all time are squaring up this September. Terence Crawford, the pound for pound king, going up against one of the greatest Mexican fighters to ever live. And definitely one of the greatest fighters to ever live. In Saul, Canelo Alvarez. I mean, my goodness, what can you say about this fight? Who is going to win this fight? Now, I'll say this. In my opinion, the greatest performance that I have ever seen in my lifetime was when Terence Crawford destroyed Errol Spence Jr. Let's be honest. Yes, Spence wasn't maybe at his best, but no one expected for Terence Crawford to do what he did versus Errol Spence. Now, on the other hand, you have the great, the powerful, the smart, the sharp, the defensive wizard in Canelo Alvarez. I mean, let's be honest. Canelo should win this fight. Canelo, if you actually think about it, not just when it comes to styles, but when it comes to the logic of boxing. I mean, Canelo is 2 divisions above Terence Crawford, and Canelo's been at the elite level way longer than Terence Crawford when it comes to the level of opposition. But am I crazy here? Am I crazy here to think that the great Terence Crawford is gonna shock the world once again? I mean, let's actually break down their styles. I believe that Canelo is one of the most underrated fighters when it comes to defense. My goodness, I mean, we have never ever seen the man dropped. We have never seen the man knocked out on his feet. I mean, yes, when he fought Cotto's baby brother, I think, he was hurt, but he was like 20 years old, or I believe he was actually 19 years old. It was his US debut. But ever since Canelo grew into the man that he is today, he hasn't really been hurt. But I'm not saying that Terence Crawford is going to hurt and knock out Canelo. But, I mean, it's boxing. Anything can happen in the sport, and that is why we tune in to every big fight, because we think we know what's going to happen, but we don't really know what's really going to happen. Now, like I said, Canelo should win this fight. He's bigger, stronger, hits harder, has better defense in my opinion when it comes to rolling with shots. Crawford has better footwork, and one of Crawford's greatest assets is not just his head movement, but also his footwork. I mean, Canelo's footwork is his biggest weakness. Canelo's footwork is nearly non-existent, if we're going to be honest. I mean, there's a difference between being a boxing fan and a lover of a man and a boxer. And I'm definitely not that. So even though I love and respect both men, I'm always honest. I'm not the type of man to just admire a fighter and act like he is some type of unbeatable force, because that is not the case. And Canelo is far from unbeatable. Now, Crawford, in my opinion, is all around the better fighter. And if this fight was actually, if both men were competing at the same weight class and both of them were the same exact size, I believe this is nearly a mismatch. I believe Canelo would barely win a couple of rounds versus Crawford, but Crawford is coming up in weight and Crawford is carrying more weight than ever. How will Crawford look? I believe the man is going to be slower, but the man will also be stronger. But the man, on the other hand, will also be more hittable. But on the other hand, the man is going to be way sharper than Canelo. He's going to be more motivated than Canelo. Canelo never wanted this fight. Let's be honest, Canelo did not want this fight. But Crawford also didn't want this fight when he was campaigning at 147. But the moment they showed both of them the money, Crawford was dying for this fight. But Canelo, it took him way longer to be convinced to take this fight. Now listen, in all actuality, who's going to win this fight? I have no clue. Like I said, Canelo should win this fight. And he should be the favorite, even though he is a very small favorite. He's only a 2-1 favorite. I expected him to be a 3-1, at least 4-1 favorite. Mainly because of the size difference. But as the fight is getting closer, and as we have seen both men facing off against each other, Crawford isn't really small, that much smaller than Canelo, if you actually think about it. Sorry. Crawford isn't really smaller than Canelo by much. So I'm not sure how this fight is going to look. I mean, will Crawford, as they say, run his way to a victory? I don't believe so. Crawford never ran from anyone, and he's certainly not going to run from Canelo. And even if he wanted to run, he's not going to have the legs to run at nearly 39 years old. Now, even though Manny Pacquiao just shocked us and proved that you still can have good feet at an older age. But in all actuality, you would be lying if you said that you actually know how this fight is going to look like. Because I've been watching for more than a decade. I've been watching boxing for more than a decade. And I have no clue how this fight will look like. Will Canelo miss all night? Will it be actually a war? Will Canelo bully Crawford? Will Crawford outbox Canelo? Will Crawford shock the world and hurt Canelo? I mean, who knows? Who knows? But one thing we do know for sure, that it's going to be a spectacle and it's going to be epic. Epic! Nearly 80,000 people will be in attendance in the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. What an unbelievable fight. I never actually really wanted to see this fight. But now, as it's getting closer, I can't look away.